Hello everyone and welcome back for another episode of Indie Impressions. My name is Nick and today we're checking out The White Rabbit, a game by Matthew DeVito. So this is the second of our LD25 games that we're going to be having a look at, and I was immediately attracted to the beautiful colors displayed in this one. As you know, I do enjoy a nice color scheme, so we're going to take a look around and see what we can find. I kind of like this as just the introduction. You walk right through it. Makes me think of like 30 Flights of Loving or something like that. So we're going to walk around through a bunch of what looks like half pipes that maybe we could do some sweet skateboarding on. And with Tony Hawk's help, maybe do a 900 or two. Granted, that's probably not really what's going to happen. Do you remember The White Rabbit? I do not, in fact, unless you're talking about Alice in Wonderland, but I have a feeling you're not. This is where the project began. There's nothing in this one. And there's a box, and the results of the clinical trials spoke for themselves. And we've got a very nice little triangle over there. The box is not able to be interacted with. So I don't really know much about what the deal is with this game, but I have to say, aesthetically, it's quite beautiful. I mean, this is so up my alley in terms of graphical aesthetics. This is exactly what I like to see. So warm and like rich, and everything has a really nice crisp feel to it. So I don't know what exactly we're going to be doing when we get this triangle, but it's going to be good. Well, maybe anyway. Oh, we're outside now. Okay, we can be outside. I kind of liked it in there because it was all red and peachy looking. So we're going to walk around, I guess. It's one of those types of games. You wanted to help people forget their fears, their worries, their regrets, and it does say this is a trial version, so I'm not sure if that means that the developer is going to take this concept and work more with it now that the competition's done. Regardless, though, I am interested. See, under normal circumstances, I might think that this cave wall looks kind of like low-res, like the mesh isn't really fully finished or something, but actually with this art aesthetic and art style, I think it works pretty well. It worked! I actually kind of like making a narrative like this. I think it makes sense. It's not intrusive, and yet it still makes you think about what's going on as you go, and I like that the text is only visible from one side. So it's mapped to a plane that one side is invisible, the other side has the sprite on it. Good thinking. Can we walk off the beaten path here? Looks like we can, but not very far. And if you notice, there is actually a bit of a noise filter going on. It's subtle. Seems to increase with distance. Yeah, there's quite a bit of fog, and then when you get further away, you notice the noise a little bit more. Oh, is that a missing poly up there? We'll live. We're probably not really supposed to turn around over here anyway. And of course, the snow particles are always a nice touch. Yeah, it's not actually a missing poly, it's just like it needs more, like an entire extra mountain range going up above that thing. But again, we're not criticizing that, I just noticed it. I would be pretty proud to make something in 48 hours, but at what cost? The cost of our sanity. Oh no! Well, that's not right. These poly models, they actually remind me a little bit of Fract. I'm really hoping that the developer is going to send me an earlier, still unfinished copy of that game, because I really want to take another look at that game. It was one of my favorites from the early indie impressions. This is quite interesting that the other LD game that we played also happened to have an endless white void with trees in it. Maybe that's catching on, and it was also somewhat depressing, but that's because the theme is you are the villain. However unintentional we may be. So I guess this year's theme is, as well as being you are the villain, it's endless white voids with trees. It's all good with me. I think this is a pretty creepy atmosphere, actually, and the music actually is really quite nice as well. Oh boy. Alright, so this is the thing that I was saying maybe should happen in the other game. Should invert the whole color palette. This time, the people have actually switched places. Now they're going to be hanging down towards the sky. They were lost in deep black emptiness. Very moody. I really like that. Whoa, we're falling. So do you remember the White Rabbit? That actually reminded me of, like, I think it was the ending of one of the God of War games when you fall off this cliff and then you're, like, drowning in blood or something. That was a pretty crazy moment. Don't worry, I'm not trying to spoil the God of War games, it's just like, I don't even remember which one it was. Or did you choose to... I chose to forget, man. This does not seem like it could end well. Oh, that's the end. Alright, so it's one of those little short journeys through a sentence, basically, or not a sentence, but like a paragraph's worth of monologue that you're going to be working through your mind. And it's just adding some visual aesthetics to the thoughts so they can coalesce nicely. I think it's pretty cool, actually. I'd really like to see this expanded upon further. Even if it just results in... I shouldn't say just results in, because I actually really liked it, but like I said before, 30 Flights of Loving, really interesting way to make a narrative. I completely support more developers going for that. Just as long as it's made pretty clear what the gameplay is before the player gets into it, because I think a lot of people would really feel kind of ripped off if they end up buying a game for, say, $5 and they find out it's really just a walking around exploration type game. Not everybody's into that, and that's understandable. But for me personally, I think it's pretty cool. I think it shows a very nice dedication to aesthetics, a nice... I don't know exactly what I'm trying to say, but like the whole thing came together pretty well, I think. Between the concept, the visuals, the music... That's what I usually look for, like, behind the scenes, there's this feeling of, like, what feels like a complete package in some games, and, you know, for what it is, even though it's a short experience, I feel like this has a package feeling to it. It doesn't feel like it's just completely unfinished. I mean, it's short, I just said that, I know, but, yeah, it was worth going through for a minute. I mean, I can't really, you know, justify going through this a second time, so there is that to look out for. And when you're basically presenting a narrative just as a story, if the story is not adequately complex, much like gameplay, you're not going to probably go through it a second time. So that's something to consider as a developer. Do you want to be the type of developer that tells a story that once you've heard it, and you could essentially relay that same story to someone else, and take some of the impact out of the whole experience if you chose to. In this case, it's really more focused on the visuals, I think. But... you know, just something to keep in mind as we look at some of these other games in the future. So, it was pretty cool. I mean, it tells you space to jump. I don't think we really had to jump much except for just getting up to that first triangle, but again, I would be curious to see what Matthew DeVito might have up his sleeve for the next... See what I did there? Rabbit, magic, sleeve, yeah. For the next entry in whatever... I'm not sure if he's doing another game before the next LD series comes through or what, but... regardless, looks pretty cool. So that's going to wrap us up for this one. Another short episode. The LD games are just generally going to lend themselves to that. Hopefully that's cool with you guys. I choose to cover this stuff. I think it's useful. I think it's meaningful. So even if the episodes come out a little bit on the short side, I'll make up for it in jibber jabber here and there. So that is going to do it. I'm going to do the super abridged version today on the plug. So as always, www.indie-impressions.com. Facebook page is facebook.com/indieimpressions. Leave a like on it if you choose. Get every day's new episodes right delivered to your Facebook feed. And if you have any comments, questions, suggestions, or criticisms, at RockLeeSmile on Twitter, or if you're a developer, just want to let you know I'm always available to check out your games at that address. I also have a contact form right on my website. So feel free to send me an email. I'm happy to talk to everybody, and I would love to hear from you in the comments. So that's going to do it, guys. Have a good night, and I will see you tomorrow. Later.